What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Monday Night Raw Reviews. This one is from February 6th, 1995. Raw this week starts off with a recap of the King Kong Bundy and Mabel match from last week. I don't know why or who would want to see this, and I don't know why they replayed this. They announced a six-man tag match with a couple of the guys involved in that whole fiasco of a segment that was last week. And believe it or not, this is actually the first time that I started an episode, and as soon as it started, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna watch this a different time. They announced what was gonna happen, and obviously they replayed that, and I was like, you know what? Let me do this another day. So a couple days later, I continued typing up these notes, and I just sucked it up. I was like, you know what? This needs to get watched sooner or later, so let me just do it. Shawn Michaels blows a bubblegum bubble in Vince McMahon's face as they run the show down, and Mabel makes his entrance with Mo. They are teaming up with Lex Luger, and you know what that means? We skip to the end of the match. By the way, they've also started this thing where a young fan gets to walk Lex out to the ring waving a US flag, which is actually pretty nice for the kid doing this. I bet you Lex Luger is probably like, why is this kid stealing my spotlight? Actually, I wonder if Lex Luger is like that, if he's egotistical. Never really noticed if he is or not. Like, he was always booked as a top guy, but he never really got over. I wonder if he cared much about being the main guy, either in WWF or WCW. But anyways, getting to the end of the match, Mo gets the hot tag to Lex and he cleans house, knocks Iris out of the ring and body slams King Kong Bundy. Tatanka hits him from behind and then Mabel comes in, but the ref tells him out of all the people to get out, so his back is turned, allowing Tatanka to hit Luger with the DDT. Bundy crawls over and covers Luger for the win. All these guys really don't have anything to do right now, so just a throwaway tag match here for Bundy and his team to get a win during this WrestleMania season. Then we get words from a representative of Lawrence Taylor. He reads a prepared statement, and I'm paraphrasing here, but the statement said that LT didn't mean any disrespect at the Royal Rumble, and he doesn't have any intention of being a wrestler. But if Bam Bam Bigelow continues to press Taylor, he will have no option but to do more than just have a representative read a statement. I know LT was a big star football player, but was he still that famous in 1995? What did you guys think about Lawrence Taylor being in the WWF if you were watching at the time as a young kid or whatever age you were, if you were watching at the time? What did you think about Lawrence Taylor being in the WWF? Next up, we have the debut of Man Mountain Rock, basically a babyface Jeff Jarrett who could play guitar instead of sing. He wins with a front face suplex, and before the match, he played the guitar, but not really sure if it was him or not. While he was playing, you heard other instruments as well, so we're going to see how long he lasts before Vince McMahon sours on this gimmick. Somehow, Jarrett and Holly, who had odd gimmicks, have broken through and have actually won belts. So we'll see if Man Mountain Rocks accomplishes anything in the WWF. Then we see footage of Diesel beating Owen Hart in a title match at a different show, and Shawn came out to survey the victory from the ramp. Vince McMahon at a studio interviews Diesel and asks him a couple things. Diesel says that Bret Hart is better than Owen since he's faced both of them. As for Shawn Michaels, he says he wants a piece of him and that HBK knows that, and the mind games he's playing are working on him. What mind games? I have no idea. Vince asks what it means to be a role model and all that is asked of him, like being on talk shows, sports events, commercials, and all that. Diesel says that he really has no time for anything else and didn't know that winning the World Wrestling Federation title would demand so much from somebody. As we look towards his match against Jarrett, Diesel isn't sweating the challenge, so way to put over the match there. Shawn Michaels on commentary, though, says that he is looking forward to his good friend Double J taking on Diesel for the title. I mean, the interview was decent for what it was. It gives us a personal look at the person behind the superstar, you know. Unlike when they did this with Lex Luger, it felt more real somehow. But I have no idea what they were trying to do with Diesel. Why not just have him be a dominant champ? I don't get why they need to try and make him relatable by doing these types of interviews with him. He was doing fine starting at last year's King of the Ring. He was over when him and Shawn started having problems around Survivor Series. But since winning the title, they just made him a baby kissing, handshaking, goofy, goody two shoes, basically. They always have to do this with their baby faces. Got to make them all family friendly. They can't have any type of edge to them. Following that, Mantar with a win over a jobber. For some reason, Jim Cornette is his manager, but nothing really else of importance happened in this. It was just a jobber match for Mantar. Then in another jobber match, this time for Racer Ramon, he picks up the win with the Racer's Edge. So this is a couple days after Racer Ramon Scott Hall passed away, and as soon as I read the name here, I don't know why I had to stop and mention it. I thought I could get through it, but then I was like, fuck, I can't. I just remember that he passed away. So R.I.P. to Racer. I know this is probably gonna come out like months and months after this happened, but yeah, still wanted to get that out there. R.I.P. Racer Ramon, one of the best guys, not only during this era but throughout his career. I mean, obviously from '96 and on, starting the NWO. Without him doing that with Diesel and Hogan, there's probably no Attitude Era. Probably means that there's no big boom in the wrestling business during the late '90s, early 2000s, which probably means, hey, there's no WCW, WWF Monday Night Wars, which probably means a lot of other things. I know ECW kind of had that outlaw type of wrestling, but if we never get the Monday Night Wars, which all started from Diesel and Razor Ramon jumping ship, and that type of wrestling never gets into the mainstream, the Attitude Era type of wrestling. Who knows if we're still sitting here talking about old school wrestling, because who knows if anybody would even care, you know? And not that I get a lot of views on this, but I'm just saying. I don't think that I would be watching this stuff if there wasn't an Attitude Era that led into all that other stuff. Razor Ramon, one of the pillars of keeping wrestling and taking wrestling to new heights and basically keeping it relevant for all these years. So yeah, on this episode he got a win over a jobber with the Razor's Edge. So he's probably on the road to getting another shot at the Intercontinental title. After losing it at the Royal Rumble to Jeff Jarrett, he will probably get a rematch there. Next we have Henry Godwin in another squash match. They show the slop bucket, and it's someone's lunch and a cup of milk basically. He hits the slop drop, which is a reverse DDT, and for some reason rolls the jobber a couple times before going for the pin. So that's it for that. Henry Godwin getting a win there. Finally, we have Shawn Michaels, who is sporting a black eye. He might have ran into some army guys before the show or something. He says his goodbyes to us as he will be leaving the commentary table to take care of himself, whatever that means. Vince gives him a dirty look and asks him who does he think he is, and that's basically how the show ends. So Shawn Michaels now, because he's going after the WWF title at WrestleMania, they're gonna take him off commentary, and he's just gonna do what he has to do to build his title match, title feud with Diesel. So he's no longer needed at the table. I'm gonna give this show a bad grade. The main reason being that I had to pause the show at the start and then decided to start it back a couple of days later. Just that little fact is why I'm giving this a bad grade. Luckily, there wasn't a King's Court on this episode, or it might have been the first terrible grade I gave to one of these Raw episodes. So, with that being said, I'm out. I'll catch you guys on the next one.